ensuring a smooth passage for the departed. The departed in this part of the world are not properly cared for. Granted that the discipline, the training for those who care for the departed, you know, is not done in this part of the world. In Nigeria, for instance, training for those really good training, knowledgeable training, not just training, not just any and any burial. I'm talking about the burial is done every day, but people who do this conduct this don't know what they do. They just go ahead and execute the rituals that have been prepared for them and by them, by the persons who know nothing about this thing. They just prepare them and then they come and execute this burial. And at the end of sometimes they don't even know whether they are really addressing the person who has departed from the physical body lying out there that is now wasted, lying out there that's not important. They just talk to the physical body. They just do things about the physical body, dress the physical body up, wear clothes and whatever. The physical body that is no longer important, that is a discarded clothing, discarded garment, discarded coverall for the departed. And the person that is really important, that is very, very important, is the departed. The departed who is hanging around, who is moving up and down, floating around there, that is, without care, because most departed are themselves in trouble because they don't know what the other side is until they get there, until they get out of the physical body and find themselves there. So they need to be guided, they need to be cared for because some of them are really in distress. A lot of them, most of them in this part of the world are in distress. They get there in distress. They get there thoroughly unprepared. They get there in darkness and blindness. They just see what they fear, all that they fear, all that they spend their time fearing, all that they go about listening to people who tell them this, that, without any truth in them. So they march in the other world or on the other side, thoroughly confused, thoroughly disorganized. So people need to be properly organized because if you care for them, there is nothing that is not on the other side. Once you start giving them lecture and whatever, everything clears up. There's brilliant. There is radiance all over again. And they become happy. They start smiling when you tell them to smile and you arrange them well and they just get happy and start moving on. So in this part of the world, in Nigeria, people who pass on are not cared for. And a lot of people are in what they call hell and suffering because people are just afraid. They fear so much to die. But actually, the other side is actually most interesting, actually very satisfactory. Because if you pass on, you have freedom. That's when you have freedom for the first time. That's when you have freedom from the physical body, which is such an enemy to the departed. So the departed must be cared for. People must learn to get into this thing. People must look for these things in the right way, get them, and apply them properly. For instance, there was a time when a friend came up to me and said, the mother died, and the grandmother died, and they were looking for a way to, dispose of the body, rather dispose of the being that passed on. And the old woman was, when she was alive, because of old age, she was blind for some time. And when she passed on, she started moving around, prancing around and moving all over the place and carrying everybody around, all the children and all that were afraid. So the person told me that my granny is all over the place and people are scared, people are so disturbed. So I said, that's serious. That's not a very serious. She's not even fighting you. She's not fighting. She's not doing anything to you. But that's just that she's so excited, moving around and trying to show herself and move around all around the house. It's not out of joy. It's not really bitterness or whatever. So I asked her to give me the woman's name. And she gave me the name. So I sat down in my place of my study, my place, the place where I attend. So I sat down there and attend and called the woman. She appeared, and I told her, "You are pastor. You are pastor now, and I know that you are moving around, prancing around happily because you have not been seen before. Now you can see, so you are happy. You know that. But the people around you are afraid. Can't you see? All of them are scared and running up and down. So just looking at me. So I told her, you are pastor. So we greet you and we salute you for all that you've done. The life you lived on earth, it was good. You gave back to so many people, took care of them, and not now. Live long, live very well. Now you passed on. So you have passed on now. And I told her, I directed her, showed her how to do. And she moved up there, and I guided her straight to into the heaven, into the beautiful place. So she went there. The good thing about guidance, guiding the dead or the departed, is that when you do that and you are qualified to do it, and you have experience, you guide the person into the heavens, into the beautiful places you go to. Because it's as simple as that. When you study it, you do it, you execute it, and people will be there will be so much freedom. Places will be everywhere will be calm. There will be beauty all over the place. But in this country, we are interested only in the physical thing. All over the world, indeed, people are just interested in the physical things. Only in Asia that most of these things are done. People are interested in physical things, doing physical things, and that leads to a lot of fear. A lot of people moving around are so afraid, so scared. When they see that you are different, they fear you. They are scared, so scared of you. But I know that these things are pathetic. Such persons should be sympathized with because they are not doing it deliberately. They are doing it because of limited knowing, limited exposure. So that's it. So people who pass on are not cared for in this country because they are not trained people. There are no people with the right knowledge. They are just people pretenders. People who claim when somebody dies, they are there. They collect money, collect this one, collect all sorts of things from the family, and then they come and just do nothing. You can see that they don't know. They have themselves not moved out to the physical body before. How can you care for a person who has passed on when you have not been in that state before? When you have not moved out of your physical body before to know what is there, to be able to guide the person to the right place. Most people who have passed on in this country are living like slaves. They are living in dirty surroundings. They are living in darkness. They are living in mourning, in all sorts of difficult situations because they were not cared for. They were not properly, seen up. They were not properly directed and guided. Because most people who pass on just pass on and they see themselves in that state for the first time after living in fear, after fearing death so much, and they now see themselves in that state, liberated. But there is nothing good about that environment. They are alone and suffering and whatever. So when they are guided and directed, they move on and move on and move on. My mother passed on. When my mother passed on, and I was called on phone and told my mama has passed on. I said, okay, mama has passed on. Oh, and my mother was my best friend. So I knew that she was going to look for me soon. So within before 5 minutes, he was there. He came, and I had the wind. Still, I saw a very mighty wind blowing. Doors were hitting. So I jumped up immediately and ran into my study to go and sit down there and sit in the in the proper position, and then immediately shut my eyes and breathed somehow. And she appeared, and I greeted her warmly. My mom called her, greeted her, and we rejoiced and all that together. So while I was there, I saw that her husband was there. Her husband was just standing behind and all that. So I greeted him too. My father, who passed on almost 30 years ago. So I greeted him and all that. So we rejoiced and had a very good time. My father was looking so good. My mother was a bit, because she passed on that day, she was a bit scattered a little. But I arranged her, we arranged her, and then when I finished greeting her, calling her by the sweet names, praising her, giving her all that she deserved. I now told her you have passed on. Since you have passed on, it's a beautiful thing. You can see you are happy now. You are smooth. You are moving up and down. So I directed her on what to do. So that what to look behind you. You turn and saw the staircase there. I said, okay, move on. Just move on from the staircase. And then she moved up, and I moved her up into the best places. And she went in there. And at the end of the day, because out there is so beautiful. Those who know it are eager to die. They are not really crazy. They are not crazy about earth here. There's nothing so enjoyable on earth. It is out there that is important. But mind you, you cannot commit suicide. You can't go over there without properly passing on. If you go over there, you see the punishment you will go through if you commit suicide. So suicide is not an alternative. Nobody should try suicide. But life out there is beautiful, especially if you live responsibly on earth. You'll be able to move and advance and grow to the point where you only come to earth if there's a reason for you to come to earth. There are people who don't come to earth all the time, they don't reincarnate. But if there's a reason for you to come, you get here and come and do the work you ought to do. But fortunately, when you came here, especially when you come here, especially prepared to do certain special work, people don't listen to you. People are afraid of you. People can't listen to you because you are blunt, you are frank. You tell people the truth. Those who live on earth are not very good, so they don't want you to speak the truth. They don't want you to tell them who they are. They want you to call a spirit by its name. That's the problem that the people that are good have, because you can't be a liar, you can't be a sinner. You must live a responsible life a worthy life, and that's what causes problem. But I think doesn't really matter. Why the training, the understanding when this thing, that's why it's important to talk about them and guide people on this thing because it's easy. Everybody can do them. Thank you very much for listening.